And good evening. This is Coach Big Pete of DeepDishFootball.com. Deep Dish Football game of the week is Manteno at Herscher this Friday night. It is time to talk about Herscher, the Herscher Tigers season so far, 2017, and they're undefeated. That's all you can say. All right, good night. Bye. Just joking. Let's talk about Herscher and their schedule. Okay, first game was against Moments. Not a real big surprise. Central, not a real big surprise. Plano, not a real big surprise. Streeter, not a big surprise. Coal City, 30-20. Big game for them, big win for them. And then Sandwich, big game, big win for them. Their second big game is going to be tonight, this Friday night against Manteno. And their last game is going to be huge, which is against Piatone. The game before that is Seneca. But so far it looks good. Great chance to be 9-0. The main questions are going to be this. And just to reiterate to people, I do not acknowledge, and I do not talk about a minor's injury. I do not talk about a high school player's injury in football. I feel that that's gross negligence for a writing professional or journalist or any of that to talk about a high school player's injury. I will not acknowledge an injury. Just a forewarning for you guys. Just let you guys know. So there. I think it's completely wrong. Their players, they're looking good. Again, I've coached against Herscher. I used to coach at Westmont. Herscher football to me, and what the first thing to me is, players that play more than one sport at that high school. You have a lot of players that wrestle, play basketball, do track, I said baseball, do basketball, do wrestling. They're multiple sport players. They play different sports. They're not a specialized sport type of player. There's a lot of my personal feeling and what I've coached against with these kids is a love for their team, a love for their game, and the type of smash mouth football. But Coach Wetzel mixes it up with a couple few passes and a couple few runs. I talked about Burns. You got now Corianda, Tyler Stewart. They have a great offensive line, a very underrated offensive line with Herscher. A lot of people don't like to talk about their offensive line, but they actually have kids that actually do a good job, and you can tell that they listen to their line coach. And sometimes that's the issue. But their linemen do a good job. They're usually not that big, but they do one hell of a job. And they live all the kids that whenever I play against Herscher, when I coach against Herscher, literally the mental toughness, the execution, and the discipline, the pure discipline of the Herscher Tigers has always been a huge strength for them. And the resiliency against points being scored on them, mistakes happening on the field, they've always been resilient. Now, their quarterback, Tyler Jargon's going to be a huge key to their win and for the rest of the season. His ability to play quarterback, his ability basically for the passing and that. Wetzel does sort of what I believe he does. I think he does a certain type of run and shoot that stresses more onto the run, more the Tiger Ellison approach, but he does a great job of it. There's one more player I want to talk about too. Bryce and Blake Ohert, they look good. I saw their offensive line play at 7-on-7, the Central 7-on-7 line challenge. Was completely impressed with their line. Also look out for I don't think he's playing, but look out for him. I just saw a few clips of his game film. Tellin Jones, but they've got some good key makers. I'll talk about the roster tomorrow, but their schedule looks great. The main question for Herscher is their 4A. What's going to happen when they get into the playoffs? Because you got Johnsburg You got Rochester. I'm forgetting one more other team too, but Herscher deserves to be talked about in the top. Me personally, I put him in the top three for 4A, and Herscher can make it to the DeKalb in Thanksgiving. They can. They can. Um, there's going to be tough tests ahead, but they can make it ahead. And I do believe Phillips leaving the 4A helps him out a lot. Helps him out really a lot. It's going to be interesting to see um, how Herscher as a team responds if after that first couple few quarters of maybe losing by getting down by 2 or 3 touchdowns, how they respond. Because last year that's how they exited the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see how this year is. But I do believe, I'm a strong believer in Herscher this season. Great group of athletes. Um, I've a great group of kids. Character good. Wetzel always has them ready. He does a hell of a job. Um, I consider him one of the top coaches in the Interstate 8 and in that area for what he's done for Herscher. Very, very under the radar for what he has done, especially as a coach. So it'll be interesting to see. But the season so far, they're looking good. 6-0. I mean, me personally, let's see. Literally, I had Herscher at number one. I think the only team that I had was Coal City. I thought it was going to be between Coal City and Herscher, and they beat Coal City. And then I had Manteno versus Piet. I had Manteno or Plano as the surprise team, but as the which team could take part in. It looks like it's Manteno, so it's going to be a good game against Manteno. Manteno more of the type of basically type of spread next to the rush. It's going to be a good game, especially Manteno's defense. See how Manteno's defense is, and if they can apply the rush onto Herscher, which will be interesting. But that's about it for that. I can talk about the Herscher season so far. They have a really good chance of going undefeated, and like I said, to be eating Thanksgiving in the DeKalb. But this is Coach Big Pete of Deep Dish Football and DeepDishFootball.com. Be sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook. Go to DeepDishFootball.com. Follow me on Instagram. Yada yada yada, the whole shebang. I will be talking more about the Herscher players. I'm thinking tomorrow start doing the spotlights. The first spotlight will be on Anthony Cordina of Herscher. So thank you so much and have a lovely night.